It's time to talk MTCS sports. It's Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA, live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
We're joined by Middle Tennessee Christian School coaches to talk about their most recent games and their upcoming opponents. It's time to talk orange and white on MTCS Cougar Corner.
We welcome you into MTCS Cougar Corner, the first Cougar Corner of the season, and it is time to talk some football, of course. Football coach Christian Peterson is our guest, and will be here on Cougar Corner as far as things go. And, Coach, good morning to you, first of all.
Good morning. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. Last year, you set a Cougar Corner record for most consecutive appearances by the football coach on Cougar Corner. As the whole thing is how far the season goes. We're talking football until there's no more football to talk about. And so we had the most successful season in school history last year, obviously.
Yeah. Last year was a lot of fun. It was, it was a good time. Our kids played really hard, and I was proud of them for again, how they played and the effort they played with, and being able to stay focused. When that season gets long, it's real easy to start feeling down and feeling the aches and the pains and all that. And, they kept showing up, they kept having fun, and, those are the fun years.
You have probably talked ad nauseum about the whole season. I know that there have been, coronations all over the county, but it's pretty special. I mean, this group of guys, this student body class is gonna remember that when they come in for their 10-year and 20-year reunions.
Absolutely. When you win the first one in school history,
yeah,
right? It's a little different. And I was joking with our coaches. I was like, I can see why it's so hard to go back to back and things like that, because you're getting parades, and you're going to this place, and this place is giving you tickets, and this place is doing this, and you start going like, guys, we got to start getting ready for next year, right? Like, last year's a lot of fun. Like, the seniors enjoy it. You guys are done, but if you're coming back, like, we got to start getting to work, because everyone's going to have a target on your back now. They don't care if you lost a bunch of guys. They don't care if you're going to be young. And so, we got to make sure that we're doing the right things in the weight room and getting prepared for this year.
It makes you look at those teams who have had decades of success. Well, right here in our county, Oakland, Riverdale years ago, the Brentwood Academies from the 90s. To sustain that, it's got to be hard.
Absolutely. I think it's just remembering that each year is a new year, right? You don't get to start with extra points on the scoreboard because you beat a team the year before. Right. And, we got to go in, and we got to remember how hard we worked last off season to get the season that we had. And then we've really got to go, and we've got to work even harder this off season. Right. And that's the mindset we're trying to get to, is just, every day coming out and getting better. We talk about it all the time. Fridays take care of themselves, right? Like, let's not be result oriented, right? Like, we obviously going to state and winning state, once you do it, is always kind of in everybody's back of their minds and of a goal they want to do. But understanding that if you're just focusing on winning state, like, you're not going to get there. And, it's working Monday through Thursday and let Friday take care of itself. And then you get to just go out and have fun and play around, play football. But, that's where we're getting right now, is just, making sure that we're working Monday through Thursday to give us the best chance on Friday night.
Coach, you come in and then you have the team like you had, could you have set the bar any higher for yourself?
We talked about it a lot, and even through the interview process, they asked me, what do you think we have coming back? And I was like, I think we're going to have a chance. Like, in high school sports, that's all you can have, right? You're going to have a chance. You're always 2 or 3 injuries away. The wrong guy gets hurt, and like, right, it's going to hurt you. And so we were very blessed. We stayed fairly healthy, and we were able to make some things happen there at the end. And again, we gave ourselves a chance. But you got to play your best ball every Friday night in order to do that. And so again, it's just building week by week and making sure that when the end of the season comes, you're playing your best football.
I wonder if the opening game of the season last year, which was the 3-overtime thriller at Columbia Academy, didn't kind of set the tone for the whole year. And I mean, and the reason I mentioned that, you open up with them again.
Yeah, that one was nuts. So, first game as a head coach and you're in triple overtime. We were kind of joking on the sidelines. The kids were coming over going, hey, what are the overtime rules? And I'm like, guys, I've never done it in Tennessee. I don't know. We're going to find out together. Let's go talk to the white hat. And, had a pretty good idea of what was going on. But, you never know from state to state if there's going to be some small changes.
Right.
So it was fun. Again, our kids, I think, kind of showed their compete level in that one. And, kind of gave all the coaching staff, the confirmation of what we already thought of. They were going to show up and they were going to play really hard. And, again, that gives you a chance.
And had to play them in the playoffs. You actually had to, the last two games, play back through teams that you had already played before, which is difficult in a relatively short season in football. It really is.
For sure. It's always hard to beat a team twice. It's always, you kind of know after you play somebody, what they were trying to accomplish, what they were trying to do. And, the old saying is it's harder on the team that won because it's hard to change things that you did, right? Like you won. And so whereas the team that's lost is going to try and go figure out different things that they can do to try and get the win the second game go around and
figure out a way to stop you from winning the game.
For sure. And so, it's just one of those deals where you've got to come out and you've got to make your own slight changes, right? You don't want to throw out the game plan because it worked, you won. But at the same time, you're going to have to change some things up because they're going to make adjustments and, going in. And again, you beat them once, but the next game starts 0-0, right? Like you don't get extra points because you've already beat them once. And so it's just making sure we go into that Friday with the same mentality of we got to go play our best game and let the chips fall where they may.
So I know we've spent the first part talking about last year. The question I've been dying to ask you is, how do you respect what happened last year, but also put that behind? Because the only thing that does is paint a bigger target on your back this year, right?
For sure. Again, I think our kids did a pretty good job of it too. Is, if you're a senior, you win a state, you get to go on that tour for the rest of the school year, right? Enjoy it. You earned it. If you're a freshman, a sophomore, a junior for an eighth grader coming up, enjoy it, but understand once we get into the spring, once we get back in January, February, we're lifting, we're in the weight room. You've almost got to put it to the side. It was a great accomplishment. It was awesome. It's something that they're going to look back on for forever and be able to think about I was on that team. And I never want to take that away, but at the same time, understanding that more games are coming in the fall and it's going to come up quick. And we got to make sure that we're ready to go for this season.
You had a dynamite senior class last year, and you've talked about that group of seniors a lot. In the lobby, you were talking about, Yates Guerin and Harris there, and the different pieces, Eli Wilson, of course, and those guys achieved the ultimate, winning the state championship with their team. But also you've got some big shoes to fill with the underclassmen that are now going to have to step up and into those roles that those guys and more had.
For sure. And I think one of the things we've done is we're not trying to have Briggs Boyd's going to play quarterback for us. And we told him, you don't need to be Yates, right? You need to be Briggs Boyd. If you spend the whole season trying to do everything that Yates did, you're not going to be very good, right? You need to go out and be the best Briggs Boyd you can be. You're going to do some things different, right? There's some things you might do better. There's some things you might not do as well. And that's okay. But let's build it around what you do well. Same thing up front. Don't try and be Jesse, right? Jesse was a really good football player, right? And, the goal can be to be what he was, right? But, go out and do what your strengths are, right? Go out and do what makes you a good football player. And same thing with all of our backs. don't try and make every run like Eli made runs. Go make runs like you make runs, right? Like if you're Travian Mathis or Shy Murphy or any of those running backs, like run like you guys run, and don't try and just mimic what's happening in front of you. Like go out and like, you're here, we put you in a position where you think you're a good player. I want you to go be the best player you can be. And so, I think they're starting to buy into that, right? And understanding too that like, yes, we're replacing some big shoes, but I want you to put your own flair on it, right? It's important that you get out there and you play your game, right? And if you try and play somebody else's game, then it's just going to hurt you in the long run. Just go out there and do what you do well, and we'll be all right.
Christian Peterson joining us on MTCS Cougar Corner this morning, talking football. As you were saying that, I was thinking about Eli, and last year, a 40-yard run, but for 10-yard runs, the only difference is it takes just a little more time. So, I mean, that's just as good, right?
Absolutely. We were very explosive last year.
Right.
And again, I think it helps when you're older. This year, we've got freshmen and sophomores running around everywhere. And so, there's nothing wrong with a 7-8 yard run, right? Like that's a really good play. And so, it's one of those things we talked about again of just not every play is going to score a touchdown, right? Like not every play is going to go to the house. And so get to the gap that you're supposed to get to, run physical and go get what you can. And then let's huddle up and let's call the next play. The important thing is just understanding what your job is. If you just do your job and all 11 people do their job consistently, we'll be okay.
Last year's squad obviously was what I think you could characterize as senior laden. How would you characterize this year's team?
So I love my senior group this year. It's just small. There's only 4 of them, which is, probably the smallest senior class I've had in my coaching career, even back in Florida. But I really like them. They're all learning how to be vocal leaders. Our group last year was very vocal, whereas this group they're not naturally very vocal kids, right? Like, one of the dads of one of our players was like, yeah, I know, I heard him talking at practice, and I was like, oh, he has a voice. Like he can talk. And so, but they're growing into it, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Briggs Boyd, Owen White, Brady Young, Braden Box, like they've all really bought in, and they've understanding that you're the senior now, right, wrong, or indifferent. People are going to look at you a little differently because you're a senior, and it's on them to kind of help the coaches lead, right? Because if it's just the coaches leading, then we're not going to be very good. And so, again, I think they've really embraced that role, and they're helping the young guys come around, because we have a lot of freshmen and sophomores. We're young. We got a lot of freshmen and sophomores starting for us. And, again, what I've kind of told them was, like, nobody cares that you're young, right? No one's going to take it easy on you because you're young. No one's going to let you just kind of get your feet wet and get into it, right? We're going to go play Columbia Academy this week, and they're going to return a bunch, and they're going to be an older team. Like, we're young. We've got to come out. We've got to play physical, and we've got to do our job. If you do your job, we're going to be okay. We've got to continue to get more consistent. I think that's normally the what's different between an older team and a younger team is the older teams are a little bit more consistent. And so it's one of the things that we've been harping on is don't ride the roller coaster. Go out and just, if a play goes wrong, a play goes wrong. It's okay. But don't get frustrated by it and then let it affect the next one. And just
because then that affects the series.
Right. And so like it can snowball on you quick. And so again, I think that's the biggest thing we're pushing right now is just consistency. We talk about it every day at practice, and we might not be where we want to be in weeks 1, 2, 3, but if we just keep working Monday through Thursday, we're going to be okay as we get into the later parts of the year, and then you get into the playoffs, and you got a chance. Once the playoffs start, everyone's back to 0-0, and you get to just go play on Friday night.
Christian, I mentioned this earlier, and there is a pressure of winning the gold ball for the team that follows. And some of that is just because you're going to get the team's best effort, especially this year because you're playing the same exact schedule, just swapping home and away. And so they know what happened last year. Opponents will kind of look at it as a chance to get revenge for a close loss or or whatnot. So that target can also be a little intimidating too. So how are you going to handle that?
I think you embrace it, right? Like, yeah, there's a little bit more pressure on you, but it's better to be the team that's coming off the win, right? And so embrace the expectations.
And that's
right?
respect.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. We talk about it all the time. We got to play to our standard. We really don't. We can't worry about who we're playing. We can't worry about all that stuff. We've got to take care of us. And so, again, I think it just comes down to we've proven that if you stick with the process and you do what you're supposed to do, good things can happen. And, it might not be every year. I don't know a high school team in the country that's won a state championship every single year, right? But you stick to the process, you can give yourself a chance. And again, it's good to have those expectations because it means you've done something, right? It means that you're going in the right direction. It means that the program has respect. And, I would rather have that than the team that nobody cares about that, I guess we're going to play them. Doesn't really matter, right? Like, I want to be that team that teams are like, all right, we got to buckle up our chin straps. We got to go. MTCS is showing up. And so, again, understanding that it's a new season, right? Like, we got to go out and we got to do it again this year. But, it's the program's in a good place. The program's just going to continue to get better. And, especially as our young guys continue to get snaps and continue to get playing. And, again, we get this thing rolling. As the season goes on, we're going to be okay.
There can also be a crumbling pressure with that too, so you have to be confident, and that just goes with going out there and playing the game. But sometimes you crumble under pressure, and so that's obviously something that we'll be looking at with these guys, and obviously going out and the work and preparation that has led up to this point. You don't want to put too much pressure, but sometimes maybe society does and fans do. So that's something that guys will have to deal with. Yeah,
again, and that's what we talk about. It's just, I don't care what the outside says, right? Like, I couldn't care less. There's going to be people that are going to have opinions, right? There are people who probably had opinions last year, even when we were winning, that we could have done things a little bit differently. We have a process. We're going to stick to our process. And for the kids, again, like, yeah, you're going to hear it from friends or from friends and family and people and all those other things. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is us. It matters the guys in the locker room, what we think, what our opinion is, and, just making sure that don't let the outside noise change anything that we're doing. And, I think, again, our kids have done a pretty good job of not allowing anything from the outside to really affect us. Once we get into the locker room, we're reset. Now it's only about us. That's it. And so, again, just building it day by day. We're not where we want to be yet. We after our scrimmages and stuff, I thought we got better each one. And but we're not there yet. And so we're still just Monday through Thursday. Keep getting better every week. Let Friday take care of itself. And then we got to reset on Monday. Whether you win or lose, it doesn't really matter, right? Because if you win and you just keep thinking about winning, right, you're going to end up getting beat the next week. Or if you lose and that's all you're thinking about is like, oh, we lost, oh, we're not good, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you might end up going and losing the second one, right? And they can snowball on you. So, again, just
like that series we talked about a second ago.
Everything is about we talk about it, like whether it's a play, whether it's a series, whether it's a game, whether it's a week, right? Like, it's over. Move on to the next one. And that's how you're successful. Just put those blinders on and take it one play at a time.
So Columbia Academy, first up, you've got 2 games at home and then 4 on the road. Last year it was nice to have 4 at home, but now you have 4 on the road. So, I mean, you've got a gauntlet really with your schedule, and first up Columbia Academy. So you're going to get a test right out of the gates.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be good for our kids, right? Like, Columbia Academy is a lot of people's pick to go and win the whole thing. They were right there last year. Seth's a really good coach over there at CA, and, he's got them playing physical. They understand what they're trying to accomplish. And, for especially for our young kids, we're gonna get to see what the difference is, right? Like where do we have to get, obviously, hopefully we come out, we can go out there and give ourselves a chance, and but at the same time, like understanding that like we got to come out and we just got to play our game, right? And go out there, do what we do, let the chips fall where they may. You're going to see what the highest level is in our classification right off the bat, and we'll make adjustments based off that, and then we just kind of get rolling. Then we got to again put the blinders on, and then we're going to week 2. And so when you talk about going on the road for 4 games, you never like being on the road for a month. The entire month of September we're gone. At the same time, none of the trips are super far. Like we have one to Clarksville Academy. That's a little bit of a drive, but the rest of them are all pretty close. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on the road. Last year we had the home set, but we were traveling to Florida. We were traveling to Knoxville. Like we had a lot of games that were far distances, and so we're on the road for a few weeks, but at least we're not driving 2 or 3 hours or getting on a plane and flying somewhere.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit easier.
I can imagine. I was just thinking about the Kings Academy trip. I mean, and to think they're a region opponent, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
Knoxville and all. So, well, I hope we have a big crowd on Friday night. I'm sure folks are just chomping at the bit to get out and see the Cougars.
Absolutely. Definitely come out. Watch your boys. They've put in a lot of really good work. I'm excited for them.
Coach, appreciate it. Thanks for coming in, and we will see you each and every Saturday morning at this time.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian Peterson joining us, the head coach of the MTCS Cougar football program. When we come back, a quick wrap-up and a look at the scoreboard when we return.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Experts in joint, bones, and muscles. And with over 65 specialists, TOA has a playbook to get you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
We're going to be an educational institution that teach Bible every day. Every subject we teach, we're going to teach through a biblical perspective. In every aspect of our school, we're going to do it through a Christian perspective.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
That also means that everything we do, we have to be excellent. We feel like Christ calls us to excellence. And so that means we have to be excellent academically. That means we have to be excellent athletically because that's what God calls us to. It's a great place to be.
Invest in your child's future in an environment that fosters Christ-centered values. To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
It's MTCS Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
On FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Welcome back to MTCS Cougar Corner. Time to wrap things up here on this Saturday morning on the maiden voyage of the 31st season of the Coaches Shows. Glad you have joined us here today and on the Cougar Corner scoreboard. Let's take a look at some of the things that have taken place this week. In middle school volleyball, a 2-0 win over Friendship Christian. It was volleyball middle school winning over Ezel Harding 2-0. And final in golf, Columbia Academy edging MTCS 222 to 198. On Thursday afternoon, middle school JV volleyball defeated PCA 2-0, and it was middle school football, or the 5th and 6th grade football team rather, defeating PCA 34 to 16. The football middle school team over PCA 46 to 16. To middle school volleyball, JV middle school volleyball, a winner over PCA 2-0. it was PCA in middle school volleyball defeating MTCS 2-0. And also on Thursday in soccer, Cannon County defeating MTCS girls soccer 4-2. So what are some things coming up this week? Well, today you've got middle school volleyball playing in tournament action, and beginning Monday, golf will take on Central Magnet. It'll be JV volleyball at Brentwood Academy, or hosting Brentwood Academy. I honestly can't tell. So they're playing each other anyway. And not only JV, but varsity as well. Middle school will take on Good Pasture in volleyball on the 20th, which is Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, JV will play Columbia Academy, and middle school JV playing Good Pasture as well on Tuesday. Also, middle school volleyball will play Good Pasture as well. Varsity playing Columbia Academy. On the 22nd, on Thursday, MTCS Golf will take on FCS and PCA, while the JV high school team plays Webb in volleyball. 5th and 6th grade football versus DCA, that also on Thursday. Ezel Harding Christian School versus MTCS Soccer at 5 o'clock, coming up on Thursday. Also on Thursday at 5:30, the middle school volleyball team versus Ezel Harding. Varsity volleyball versus Webb, around 5:45 or so. And it will be middle school football taking on DCA at 6:30. Middle Tennessee Christian School will also have the football game, of course, on Friday night with Columbia Academy. 7:30 will be the kickoff from MTCS. And that is a look at everything coming up. A pretty busy slate of things that are going on. MTCSathletics.com. That's new, MTCSathletics.com. A great place to go to get updates on the Cougars, their stories there. There are schedules, results. You can find all of it at MTCSathletics.com. A great brand new looking website there for Middle Tennessee Christian School sports. Well, it has been our honor to be with you this morning. I want to thank all of the coaches for making their way out today. It's game week. Next Saturday morning, we'll be talking about results, talking about the games. The Cougars with Columbia Academy, all of our other teams in action as well. Next week, our broadcast plans will have us at Siegel on Thursday as they entertain Shelbyville. Next Friday, we head to Smyrna, Riverdale at Smyrna, back here next Saturday morning. Coach's Conversation begins at 9 a.m., MTCS Cougar Corner at 11:15. So that is the slate of, what's coming up here on WGNS. Thanks to John Dinkins and Danny Brewer, our producer Dalton Barrett. I'm Brian Barrett, and it's time for high school football starting next week. Hope you have a great weekend again, everyone, and we will see you next time.